What is happening, web heads? Welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0. I'm your host, Mike Spider Slayer, in my makeshift studio in the car. Yes, because I am in the car line and there's some sun that's blinding me, and I got nothing else better to do but to make a video because I forgot my comic books to read. I got to sit here for an hour, and I said, you know what? Why not do a video? And this video is about the absolute DC universe, okay? And I mentioned this to the webhead yesterday in my comic book haul video, going, you know what? What's your favorite DC or absolute universe title as of right now, since we got the initial 3 books that have been officially released? So guys, if you love this daily comic book content and you like me helping you make decisions of what comic books to buy, you came to the right place. Why don't you consider hitting that subscribe button? So let's talk about DC in general right now. Right now, DC has All In going on. It's an absolutely good initiative. It's excellent so far. There's a lot of great books that are out there, and I would say a lot of them are great jumping on point for newer readers. And if you've been off of DC for a while, you might want to jump in, because some of the stuff I've been reading, like I said, have been a lot of fun, okay? Some better than others, but again, this is comics. Everything's opinionated, but at least it gives you an opportunity to start over again. So let's talk about the Absolute Universe. Now, for a long time, we heard about the Absolute Universe, obviously led by Scott Snyder himself. And the first book we got was Batman, or Absolute Batman. Then we wound up getting Absolute Wonder Woman. And then just yesterday, or as of Wednesday, yeah, today's Friday. So as of Wednesday, we wound up getting Absolute Superman. And I can honestly tell you, I was kind of on the fence about Absolute Wonder Woman and Superman. They're both, like, not favorite characters of mine, but I feel like if Superman is written right, I think he's really, really cool. And I was curious to see, like, what Jason Aaron was going to do with that character. Now, Wonder Woman, you know, I love Wonder Woman, but for some reason I could truly never ever get into the character. And I definitely wanted to see what Kelly Thompson had to offer for the readers here when it came to that character, okay? So let's talk about the first one. So the first one here is Absolute Batman. I think this was one of the most highly anticipated comic books, I would say, of the year. And based off of that first issue, I think it delivered in all levels of, you know, of a comic book, right? Not only did you get the character of Batman, but you wind up getting the world of Gotham in here as well. So not only was it kind of like a character building issue, but it was also a world building. It was the best of both worlds here, because you love to see this huge Batman, you know, do some action, and you wind up getting that. But you also kind of want to see where he came from and why he's that way, and you do get to see that in here. And then you also wind up getting to see kind of like the bad guys in this one as well. So you get these party animal guys. They're like Black Masks characters, right? And they look very much like a threat towards Batman in the near future. And then you get this twist with Alfred, and again with his parents as well. So I felt like when it came to all aspects of a comic book, I think Scott Snyder did a phenomenal job here with the Batman comic, and I think people are really excited to see where this book is going to go, okay? So for me, this was probably the most solid of the 3. Now, let's talk about Absolute Wonder Woman. Now, Kelly Thompson's a fine writer. I don't think she's the best writer, but she has written some great stuff, and I read a lot of her stuff in Marvel Comics. Now, when you talk about the stuff she's written at Marvel Comics, a lot of it has to do with, like, Captain Marvel, West Coast Avengers. She's written the Black Widow book, and the Black Widow book that she wrote was actually really, really good. Probably some of her best stuff that she's ever written. So when she wound up getting on Birds of Prey, I was kind of excited, but I was a little hesitant. And for me, Birds of Prey just did not hit. I don't know what it was, but it just didn't hit for me. Now, with this Absolute Wonder Woman book, it only really focuses on the Wonder Woman character. Kind of like where she came from, how she was brought to Cersei, how Cersei was raising her, and, you know, obviously a message on, you know, never forget who you are, where you came from. It was almost like this, like, feel-good message of a day. Be like, I'm loud and proud on who I am, and no one's going to stop me. And so, in that aspect, I did like the book, right? But when you talk about the world that's surrounding Wonder Woman at this point in time, I didn't think it delivered all that much. And we don't even know what threat is looming towards Wonder Woman in the near future. Now, it doesn't sit there and say, hey, I'm not going to buy your second issue, but it doesn't, like, leave you super excited, right? So you'll just pick it up and you're kind of like, okay, well, we'll see what happens, because Wonder Woman is pretty badass. Now, when it came to the artwork in this first issue, I thought that the artwork in this first one was just okay. I don't think it was standout. I don't think it was the best. And I think that's very important when it comes to, you know, a series, like a flagship series. So, you know, I think Wonder Woman, for me, when you look at it, was the worst of the three, okay? So now let's talk about Superman, Absolute Superman issue 1. Like I said, I like Superman when he's written right. He's not my favorite character. I always can't relate to the character, but for an Absolute and for an Elseworld, I wanted to see what this darker version of Superman had to offer. And I probably want to say that Superman being different is not an uncommon thing. Especially if you were around in the 90s and you saw the death of Superman, and right away you saw these different versions of Superman, like Superboy and Cyborg Superman and Violator Superman, or whatever his name is, the dude that looked like Terminator. You know, you got all those different super characters. So this darker version, I'm like, okay, we'll see what it has to offer. So what I liked a lot about this Absolute Superman comic was the world building that Jason Aaron had here. Because the one thing that you don't see a lot of in Superman comics, at least I feel anyway, is the Krypton stuff. And we wind up getting to see this version of Krypton. We wind up seeing the people living on Krypton, seeing their job occupations, their status quos, and we really get to see, like, the inside of a lot of characters based off of this first issue. Almost to the point where you kind of don't care about Clark in this book, because it's like you want to learn more about Krypton, right? And when it got to the Clark moments, well, we got to see him do some fighting against, like, these peacekeepers, and we wound up getting to see Lois as a much different person in this book. So a lot of things were a lot darker here, including Superman. Now, I do like where Superman was in this first issue, kind of like in this diamond mine facility, because I think it reminded him of his dad, because his dad was a miner on Krypton, right? So I think that's why he was there to begin with. But right now we're just scratching the surface on Superman himself, the suit, the powers, things like that, and we focused more on Krypton, that world, right? And so I really enjoyed that book as well. So I would say that that was probably my number 2. And I would say, again, like, Wonder Woman was a distant 3 for me. So again, if I had to rank the books, we're going to go number 1, Absolute Batman, number 2, Superman, and number 3, by a pretty far margin, I would say, is Absolute Wonder Woman. Not saying that it's going to stay that way. Anything could change. But overall, though, when it comes to all 3 of those books, I have enjoyed them to the point where I am excited about this universe going forward. So let's hope it doesn't get convoluted and boring. So guys, if you love this video, please give it a thumbs up. I want to know in the comments below, what are your favorite out of the Absolute comic books? And what is your favorite DC All-In title as of right now? So as always, guys, remember, subscribe. There's more content right here for you to click on. I still got another 45 minutes for this car line to go. And thank you so much for watching. So remember, support the local comic shops. Keep buying, keep collecting, but always read the comics. Guys, I'll see you real soon. Take care. Bye.